Hi, I'm Sarah from the upcoming. Such a pleasure to have you here with us at Semans, London. Maybe you can kick off with a brief introduction to Resurrection. For people who don't know anything about it, what can they expect?
Oh gosh, a brief introduction to introduction to Resurrection. Okay, well, Resurrection is I would say a thriller film that stars Rebecca Hall and Tim Roth. About a single mother, played by Rebecca Hall, who a man from her past, a very sinister man from her past, comes back after decades of not seeing one another, and she believes has returned to bring great terror and violence into her life and that of her daughter. And she realizes that she alone must stop him. I guess that's how I would introduce the movie. I've never had to introduce the movie before in a little capsule description. So hopefully that's apt.
Well, it's maybe a difficult one to define because it kind of, we start off on one note, we feel like, family drama, but very quickly things start to feel surreal, to get more and more sinister. And then we go into a whole other genre of film as it progresses. But where did you get the initial idea for it?
The initial idea for the movie came about. I was thinking a lot about parental fears and parental anxieties, basic elemental fears around parenthood, like can I keep my child safe? Can I safeguard my child from harm, from injury, from exploitation, what have you. And although I was not a parent at the time, I'm still not, although I'm about to be, these fears felt very real and very present to me, and they felt very elemental, very universal. And it seemed like exciting thematic terrain to explore. And it got me to thinking about the parental vigilante or parental revenge thriller drama, which is a very enduring and popular subgenre, often starring Liam Neeson. And I thought, well, that seems like a space that might be interesting to explore. And that's really how it kicked off. But then, of course, as it went on, many other themes and ideas began to populate it, but that was the first impulse.
And what an incredible cast, in the center, kind of the trio of Tim Roth and the daughter, but particularly Rebecca Hall. I mean, I don't know what was happening behind the scenes, but it looks like, both in the physical sense and the emotional sense, she really, really gave her full commitment to this performance. So what was it like casting them and particularly working with them?
Yeah, working with Rebecca Hall was an extraordinary experience, entirely positive, just truly inspirational. Casting her was very straightforward. She read the script, she responded readily to it and wanted to do it. The character and the circumstance was just something that resonated with her, and Rebecca is someone who I think really likes to sink her teeth into roles and do things that are very challenging, and this afforded her an opportunity to do that. And she was absolutely extraordinary because she delivered this performance that was completely committed and completely convincing. And it came almost entirely from her. She required so little in terms of direction, so little in terms of help. It was all her. It really, we just turned on the camera and recorded what she came to us with, and it was always powerful, and it was always perfectly attuned to the character and the story and what we needed. And she prepares impeccably and comprehensively, and it was sort of amazing what she brought to this. She's sort of a superhero.
And tell us about the look and feel of the film, because I think one of the things it does so well is it makes things that should be sort of straightforward and mundane feel almost from the outset kind of creepy and strange, and even the expanses of her apartment and her workplace become sterile and not very homely or forgiving. So tell us what you wanted to do with the sound design and the way you shot it.
Well, God bless you for saying that, because that was the intention. The idea was to create, I mean, the basic situation in the movie is a quite outlandish one and quite strange, but we wanted the world to feel very, very familiar, naturalistic, even mundane. But at the same time, we wanted it to find ways that weren't too overt, to create a sense of threat, to create a sense of the uncanny, to destabilize this extremely kind of banal world, so that felt insidious. So we had that sense of creeping dread, but without doing anything stylistically that felt too overt or too on the nose. So it was just a matter, moment by moment, scene by scene, trying to introduce those elements in a very subtle way, visually. With the sound design, we gave ourselves greater leeway to have a more subjective or expressionistic sound design. The movie, the visual strategy of the movie is fairly simple, fairly stripped down, almost austere in places. Still a handsome movie, and still hopefully quite cinematic. But with the sound design, it's a little more. We go for it a little bit more. I like the idea that the visuals in this movie are sort of the facts of the case, and the audio, the sound design is Margaret's subjective experience of each scene, and so we tried to marry those things and achieve exactly what you described.
I'm almost out of time, but just finally, what do you hope people will take away from it? Because I guess it's kind of the fact that it's almost you don't know what's going to happen, and there's a suspense aspect, but it goes on so many themes of the anxieties of being a mother, the pressures on women, but also of being in an abusive relationship. So what do you think the themes are, and what do you hope people take away?
That's always a difficult question. I want people to take away. I don't want this film to feel like a riddle. I don't want it to feel didactic. I want people to take away from this film whatever is stimulating and interesting to them. I hope they walk away feeling like they watched, it was a meal of a film, and there was a lot to discuss and a lot to go through. And the film has a rather unusual or ambiguous ending, and hopefully that is a provocative ending that feels thematically appropriate and that is worthy of discussion and engagement. And so I just hope people walk out of the movie feeling satisfied and feeling like there's something there that's worth their time and conversation afterwards.
Do you think sometimes horror as well can be somehow cathartic? It's almost like playing out the anxieties or the unraveling that we feel like we can have in our own life, watching someone else go through.
I don't know. I mean, I hope the ending of the movie, there is a sense of catharsis, a sense of release. This idea that horror movies can be sort of quasi-therapeutic because they allow this kind of catharsis, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical of that. I mean, I'm a believer in dramatic catharsis in the kind of Aristotelian sense, and hopefully that is present in the movie, and the ending is satisfying on that level. In terms of horror movies as catharsis, just generally speaking, I don't know. I'm not sure what they provide on a kind of therapeutic level, but I love them nonetheless.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and enjoy presenting your film here at Sundance London. Thank you so much.